Have you ever noticed that the quietest people are the ones who get the most attention? They don't need to speak yet the whole room feels their presence. Because they don't beg for attention, they earn it through silent discipline. When no one is watching. When someone walks into a room and doesn't say a word but people still feel them, that's real presence. It's not because they shouted for recognition, but because they built themselves in silence. They trained when no one clapped. They pushed when no one cared. And that's why they don't chase respect, they command it. While others are obsessed with being seen, true power is built in the dark. When you train your mind to endure quietly, when you suffer, struggle, and rise without applause, you forge a strength the world simply can't ignore. Weak men talk. Strong men move in silence and let their results speak for them. This world doesn't reward noise, it rewards consequences. And the most feared consequence of all, a man who doesn't flinch, doesn't fold, and doesn't brag. You don't need likes, you don't need validation. You need discipline, you need mystery, and a mission so powerful it outgrows the need to be understood. This isn't motivation. This is Stoic spark. This is the wolf mindset. This is how you become untouchable. 1. The illusion of loud success. We live in an age where noise is mistaken for strength. People post every workout, every tiny win, every drop of effort like they're auditioning for validation. But here's the truth. The louder you are, the less you're doing. The more you talk, the more fragile you appear. Why? Because real strength needs no confirmation. It knows itself even in silence. Marcus Aurelius ruled the most powerful empire on earth, yet he wrote in private, not for praise, but to master himself. While other emperors flaunted their riches, he examined his flaws. Understand this, those who shout their goals never reach them, because they spend their energy on perception, not progress. They chase applause instead of excellence, but you are not built for shallow claps. You are here to build something untouchable. Push yourself in silence, stop announcing, start ascending. And if you're already on this path, drop a comment right now that says, silence builds power. We explored how silence builds true inner strength. Now, let's uncover the reason why respect is never handed out, it's earned by those who lead themselves first. Point 2. Why respect is never given, only taken. Let the weak chase views. You chase victory. Respect is not a gift you receive. It's something you must extract from the world, from your circle and from yourself. Those who sit around waiting to be respected are the same ones who leave this world unnoticed. The world doesn't care about your potential. It respects pressure. It respects pain. It respects consistency. It respects the kind of results that need no explanation. Here's what no one tells you. The world watches how you treat yourself. If you let yourself slack, if you break your own word, if you can't follow through when no one's looking, then why should anyone take you seriously? Respect starts in silence. It begins when you reject comfort, when you wake up early and train alone, when you study while others scroll, when you work on your mission like it's your only reason for being alive. You can't command anything outside of you until you master what's inside of you. Push yourself in silence, and when people witness who you've become, they won't question it, they'll feel it. If that resonates, comment below. I lead myself first, because that's what earns respect. It's never given. It's taken by those who stop asking and start becoming. 3. The power of Stoic restraint. Restraint is the highest form of power. Anyone can react. Anyone can explode. But to remain calm in chaos, that's a different kind of strength. That's Stoicism. It's not weakness, it's control. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Understand this and you will find real strength. Think about it. If someone can trigger you, they control you. If a critic can ruin your day, you never had discipline to begin with. The strongest men don't react to disrespect. They rise above it because they know the world is a test, and every emotional outburst is a crack in their armor. That's why you must train your mind like a soldier. Silence the impulse. Resist the urge to defend. Don't explain. Don't perform. Restraint makes you unpredictable. And in a world full of emotionally chaotic people, We saw that restraint is power, and now it's time to understand why being unreadable is one of the most feared strengths. 4. The psychology of being unreadable. The one who stays still commands the most respect. If you're building that kind of inner discipline, type it in the comments right now. I control my fire. Let them burn themselves out chasing your reaction. You stay cold, stay focused, stay moving forward. Here's the truth. The moment they can read you, they can control you. The second they know what makes you tick, what excites you, what scares or offends you, you've already surrendered your power. But when you're unreadable, you become unpredictable. And unpredictable men are dangerous. In dark psychology, there's a term, emotional ambiguity. It means keeping your internal state hidden so no one can manipulate it. It's not about being emotionless, it's about being invisible where it matters most. Smile when doubted. Stay calm when provoked. Never reveal the storm, even if it's raging behind your eyes. Because the moment you hand them your emotional playbook, you give them the key to your mind. Let your silence speak. Let your results sting. Let your moves confuse. When people don't know what you're thinking, they project their own fear, respect, and mystery onto you. That's how kings move. That's how you stay in power. So keep pushing silently. Train your face to stay unreadable. Train your emotions to stay unshakable. And train your habits to speak louder than your words ever could. If you're rising to that level, comment, "They'll never read me," because that's when you become untouchable. 5. Silence as a strategic weapon. Silence isn't just the absence of sound. It's a signal, a declaration that says, I don't need to prove anything. I already know who I am. While others chase attention like addicts, your silence becomes your sword. It disarms the loud. It exposes the insecure. It gives manipulators nothing to grab onto. Machiavelli understood this deeply. He who does not reveal himself gains an advantage over those who do. Silence creates space, and in that space, others fill the void with their own fear, curiosity, and respect. Ever wonder why some people are instantly taken seriously? Because they don't beg to be noticed. They withhold. They give no energy to nonsense. You learned how silence reflects the insecurities of others while keeping your power hidden. Now it's time to see how silence can be your greatest form of dominance when used with precision. 6. Don't comment back. Don't explain. Just act. The most dangerous ones don't argue online. They don't declare their ambitions. They don't need to explain. They just move calculated, precise, and focused. Your silence becomes a psychological mirror. It reflects their insecurity while concealing your next move. And the more they try to guess you, the more power you hold. So don't broadcast. Don't warn them. Don't reveal the war you're fighting in the dark. Win it first, then rise. Not to brag, but to take what's already yours. If you're starting to weaponize your silence, drop a comment now. Quiet minds build loud empires. 7. Let them underestimate you. Let them think you're average. Let them believe you're harmless. Let them confuse your silence for weakness. Because in a world addicted to showing off, the one who shows nothing is the biggest threat. You don't need to correct their assumptions. Let them write your obituary while you're writing your legend. When people underestimate you, they let their guard down. And that is the greatest strategic advantage of all. The Roman general Fabius Maximus understood this better than anyone. They called him Canto, the delayer, because he refused to engage Hannibal head-on. People mocked him, laughed at his caution. But in the end, his patience outlasted every enemy. And history remembers him as the man who tamed the Untamable. So ask yourself, why rush to prove anything? Why shout your progress to a crowd that isn't listening? Let them doubt. Let them gossip. Let them mistake your silence for surrender. While they're busy watching someone else, you're building in the dark. You're sharpening your weapon. You're becoming something they'll never be ready for. You know what they don't. Pressure doesn't announce itself. It breaks bones in silence. You know something else too. Respect isn't earned by demanding attention, it's earned by outlasting the noise. Asterisks show up every day when no one's watching, when no one believes, when no one claps. Every ignored win, every silent rep, Every unseen sacrifice, that's the real flex. That's the invisible grind that will one day make you untouchable. And here's the paradox. If you try to be seen too soon, they'll bury you in doubt. But if you let them, you learned how. Silence gives you space to grow without the weight of expectation. Now, witness what happens when people underestimate you for too long. 8. Underestimate you long enough and you'll bury them in proof. Let them label you. Let them call you soft. Let them laugh when you say nothing at all. Because every second they waste doubting you is a second you're using to build the version of you that doesn't need to say a single word. And when that version shows up, the room will go silent. They won't clap, they won't cheer, they'll just feel exposed. Because while they were watching each other, you were watching yourself. Here's where dark psychology comes in. Being underestimated lulls people into comfort. It makes them predictable, lazy, overconfident. They think they've figured you out. They assume you're no threat, perfect. That's when you strike, not with fists, but with presence, not with noise, but with undeniable proof. That's when their egos crack. That's when their eyes widen. That's when the respect they never gave you shows up uninvited. Not because you begged for it, but because you became someone they couldn't ignore. And they'll wonder, how did you do it? When did it happen? Where were you hiding all this strength? But the truth is, you weren't hiding. You were building. You were too focused on becoming powerful to waste time trying to look powerful. That's the Stoic way. That's how legends walk. They don't scream into crowds. They don't need loud entrances. They arrive and the entire atmosphere shifts. That's what being underestimated sets you up for. It allows you to grow without pressure, to fail in peace, to evolve with no eyes on you. Let's be honest, growth under the spotlight is a trap. When everyone's watching, you start performing. You shift toward opinions instead of truth. But when no one expects anything from you, you're free to become everything. So don't correct them. Don't rush to prove your worth. Let them misread you. Let them mock your silence. Let them think the war is over when your strategy hasn't even begun. Because one day they'll remember the name they laughed at. They'll replay the moment they overlooked you. And they'll realize too late that the man they ignored became the man they can't escape. You don't rise by convincing people. You rise by becoming undeniable. And the path to that version of you is paved in. You learned how being underestimated gave you space to rise. Now, you'll see how mastering silence in rejection, in doubt, in discipline cements your quiet dominance. 9. Silence in rejection, in doubt, in discipline. Keep pushing yourself quietly. Let your work go unnoticed for now. Let your wins stack in private. Let your transformation remain your secret weapon. Because in the end, the man who can suffer in silence, grow with ruthless focus, and move without noise becomes the man they all chase. And when that day comes, when they finally see who you've become, you won't have to say a word. Your evolution will speak for you. If you're truly embracing this mindset, declare it now in the comments. Doubt me. Now watch me later. Let that burn into your identity. Let it remind you that being underestimated is not an insult, it's a strategic gift. And you're becoming a storm they never saw coming. 10. Commanding respect without seeking it. You don't chase respect. You become someone who makes it unavoidable. Because the moment you start asking for respect, you've already lost it. Respect isn't something you beg for. It's not granted by permission. It's the consequence of how you carry yourself, especially when no one is clapping. It's in how you walk, in how you hold your silence, in how you set boundaries without saying a word. Real respect is earned by alignment, when your actions match your words, when your values guide your decisions, when your presence walks into the room 5 minutes before you do. And here's the truth most people ignore. If you seek respect by performing, you'll become a puppet. If you seek it by force, you'll become a tyrant. But when you seek nothing, when your life becomes a silent display of unshakable discipline, unbreakable self-control, and ruthless consistency, respect follows. They watch how you operate when it's inconvenient. They watch how you react when provoked. And most of all, they watch how you hold your line when bending would be easier. Commanding respect begins where comfort ends. Look at any high-value man, you'll notice something. He doesn't explain, he doesn't justify, he doesn't overshare. Because he doesn't need to, his actions echo. His standards speak louder than his words ever could. And right here, this is where Stoic philosophy and dark psychology align perfectly. Because respect isn't just about how they see you. You learn that real respect doesn't come from chasing it, it comes from embodying it. Now, you'll see how true power isn't spoken, it's felt before a word is ever said. 11. It's not about how they see you, it's about how you've trained yourself to move, speak, and decide with clarity. Marcus Aurelius never had to yell. Epictetus never tried to convert people. They didn't preach, they embodied the truth. Calm, disciplined, still. That's what real power looks like. In dark psychology, there's a principle: the less you reveal, the more others project. When people can't read your emotional triggers, they imagine them. When you don't validate their games, they escalate. When you remain unshaken, they submit. That's not arrogance, that's command. You don't need to dress loud. You don't need to fake confidence. You need presence. You need a body built by discipline, a mind forged in solitude, and a purpose so sharp it cuts through every distraction. Respect is built when you train yourself not to react to disrespect, not to explain your standards, not to seek agreement, and still walk tall when the room turns against you, because your validation comes from within. And that's what rattles people. They can't move you, they can't control you, they can't figure you out. And what they can't understand, they start to respect. This is why pushing yourself silently works. Because silence strips away the noise. It forces you to face yourself, to build without the reward, to suffer without the spotlight. And that kind of power internal, tested, consistent radiates. People feel it before they hear it. And when they finally hear it, it's already too late. You've already become the man who doesn't ask for respect. He commands it. But here's the mistake the world makes. They think respect comes from domination, from controlling others, from appearing superior. That's not real. True respect is rooted in self-governance. If you can't rule yourself, no one will ever follow you. If you fold under stress, if you explode when triggered, if you betray your own word, why should anyone take you seriously? Start there. Discipline your mind when no one's watching. Control your emotions when it's hardest to stay calm. Execute your plan when quitting would be easier. And when you do that consistently, you build authority. Not over others, but over yourself. And when people see that kind of control, you saw that respect comes not from volume, but from weight, and weight is born in silence and self-mastery. Now we reach the summit, where you no longer try to be seen, because your presence already speaks for itself. 12. They don't respect noise. They respect mastery. If you want to command respect, don't fake alpha energy. Build it. Wake up when you said you would. Finish what you started. Let your words be rare, but razor sharp. Let your silence carry weight. There's a reason kings don't yell. Their stillness delivers judgment. Their calm commands obedience. If you want that kind of presence, stop asking. Stop hoping. Stop waiting. Become it. Push yourself silently. Move without needing praise. Win without warning. Let your life do the talking. Because in the end, they won't remember the ones who tried to impress them. They'll remember the ones who never needed to. If you're becoming that kind of man, if you're locking in, mastering yourself and building quietly, type it now in the comments. I don't ask, I become. Let that phrase remind you. Commanding respect isn't about volume, it's about weight. And real weight comes from silence, discipline, and self-mastery. 13. The legacy of quiet strength. Loud men leave noise. Quiet men leave legacy. Think about that. The world may celebrate those who speak the most, but history remembers the ones who moved in silence and reshaped reality. Because noise fades, but quiet strength echoes through generations. Marcus Aurelius didn't need a crowd. His meditations, written in solitude, have outlasted entire empires. Epictetus, once a slave, became a master of minds not by shouting, but by living with unmatched clarity, discipline, and purpose. They didn't perform, they didn't chase fame, they simply were, and the world adjusted around them. That's the legacy you're building. If you keep walking this path, not a path of followers but of impact, not a path of likes, but of lasting power. When you push yourself silently, you're not just achieving goals, you're developing something far more powerful. A reputation built on reality. And reputation built on reality can't be bought, can't be faked, can't be destroyed, because it's forged in the fire of isolation, strengthened through trial, and sharpened in the absence of applause. Quiet strength doesn't seek validation. It doesn't need to explain itself. It simply becomes a force. The man who trains when no one's watching, who perseveres when no one believes, who stands tall when no one claps. You saw how silent strength shapes legacy. Now, you'll discover what it truly means to be built in silence and why those who suffer quietly often become the most unforgettable. 14. The man who works with no deadline, who disciplines himself when excuses whisper, is the man who becomes legendary, not because he shouted louder, but because when the world finally saw him, he was already built. Let others exhaust themselves trying to be seen. You become someone who can't be ignored. Because the most respected men in history weren't loud. They were immovable. Their presence said everything. Their actions said even more. And their silence, that was their armor. When you choose the silent path, you choose the hard path. But it's the path that leads to greatness. Silence filters out the weak. Only the disciplined survive without applause. And when you arrive, fully formed, fully grounded, they'll ask, "How did you do it?" You'll simply nod, because legacy doesn't come with explanations, it comes with presence. So keep pushing, keep building, keep choosing the lonely path, the quiet grind, the uncelebrated work, because one day your silence will become the standard, your life the blueprint, your story the reason someone else chooses strength over noise. If that's the legacy you're building, comment now. I build in silence. I last forever. And remember, quiet strength doesn't ask to be remembered. It becomes unforgettable. You've heard the noise. You've seen the performance. You've watched the world reward the loud, the fake, the desperate. But now you know better. The real ones move differently. They push themselves in silence. They let their discipline do the talking. They command respect not by chasing it, but by becoming someone impossible to ignore. That's the path you're on now. You're not here to be liked. You're not here to be seen. You're here to build power. Power that doesn't flinch. Power that doesn't fold. Power that speaks through presence. When you walk into a room, they should feel without a word that you've suffered, that you've sacrificed, that you've endured more than they can imagine, and never once asked for sympathy. That's what Stoic strength is. That's what psychological dominance looks like. And that's what turns a man from noise into a symbol. You learn that silence is not weakness, it's a statement louder than any words. Now, we close the journey with the final truth. You no longer need to explain, because your life already speaks volumes. 15. When your silence becomes a roar, let them doubt you. Let them ignore you. Let them talk while you work in silence. Because in time, the silence you suffered in will become the silence they fall quiet in, not out of fear, but out of respect. You don't need a stage. You need standards. You don't need applause. You need absolute alignment with your purpose, your principles, your path. So keep pushing, keep training, keep walking that lonely road, because when your moment comes, when your silence finally roars, you won't need to say a word. If you're walking this path with me, drop it one final time in the comments. I build in silence. I last forever. Let that be your personal creed. Let it burn into your identity. And if this message hit you, if something inside of you just clicked, then do this. Like this video, so we can spread this mindset to those who need it most. Subscribe to Stoicism Philosophy Daily if you're ready to lead your life with quiet power. Turn on the notifications because we're just getting started. Every week, we sharpen minds, we strengthen hearts, And we build men who don't need to scream to be respected. You've wasted enough time seeking validation. Now it's time to earn a reputation. And you do that by pushing yourself silently until the world has no choice but to listen. Stay sharp, stay silent, stay dangerous. This is Stoicism Philosophy Daily, and your transformation has already begun.